This time we're moving straight into Game 4, no music intermission. Sorry if you all enjoyed that. Um, but here I am, and I'm here once again with Lucky. You ready for this next game?
Oh, absolutely. Especially since we might not see quite the domination this game with the Clark having taken the rest of the night off.
Yeah, that is definitely something to keep an eye out for. And so, especially with the fact that this then is a bit of a rematch situation. I mean, just that fact alone is quite surprising that we'll then see how big of an impact the Clark made on the previous game.
Oh, absolutely. And you look at a player like the Clark, he's got not only the mechanics, but he's got the game knowledge to impact every tiny detail.
Yeah, for sure. But, and that just we shouldn't, put down the rest of his team as well though. I mean, they did manage to get through the winners bracket and come to this final game, but it will be nice to see how Tilted Snorlax's team is able to possibly take the momentum from their last game, especially considering how decided it was, and manage to maybe lock down a third win of the night.
Absolutely, especially since uh, our winners bracket champions took the opportunity to have a nice little bye. They could be a little behind the eight ball.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to see how that works out for them. Because, I mean, I have to imagine losing a linchpin like Clark has to impact you a little bit. It'd be like you're losing your star quarterback 2 days before the playoffs.
Absolutely, and you can't discount the impact that the loss of a star player can have not only on the playing field but on the attitude of the entire team, and it will be on the replacement to step up big time, as well as the mid laner to continue to bring that damage because that's where they're really going to be lacking.
All right, we're jumping straight into the champion select. So here we go. Looking to see what kind of bans will be coming out. Wonder who the target's going to be for the red team against the blue team, especially with Clark not there.
Do we see a straight target ban against one lane, or do we see a variety of bans targeted towards different players? It's definitely going to be interesting.
Well, once again, we see the York going down. I wonder if the blue team was watching that previous game and might think to take the Nasus out of consideration.
I certainly hope so, or I hope they have a ranged champion to actually be able to harass him under tower if they do decide to push in.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see someone like Jace, maybe, or the Gnar, which of course was banned out by red team last game.
Yeah, Nar's an interesting one. He can definitely push up to tower, but he has a hard time getting in the harass because you need to proc his W passive, and with Nar's auto attack range, that's quite hard to do.
Yeah, certainly. So it looks like you said, there's a little sprinkling of lanes all over the place here. We have two supports banned so far, two very good supports, it should be said, and now two top laners gone as well.
Yeah, it's very interesting that they did decide to ban the Cho'Gath.
Fear controls them.
And a jungle ban as well. I don't know, I mean, Cho'Gath is a pretty strong character. We've seen that for quite a long time, so keeping him locked out is probably for the best of, maybe, if not the team that banned them, then at least the game moving at a different pace than what we've seen before.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because the Cho is one of the few champions that can really scale with the Nasus, and we could see Red Team looking to go with the Nasus again.
I don't know if they'd pick Nasus this early on. I think they'd be looking to pick Nasus a little bit later once they know what the blue team's plan is for the top lane. Just because, Nasus is something, like you said, that can be counterpicked. It's just that when they picked him last game, he was last pick, so there was no chance for it.
Oh, and we see the Caitlyn come out here despite the thoughts of her apparent weakness.
Yeah, it should be interesting. And the Gnar, too. So a couple of band champions making their appearances here in this last game of the night.
Oh, and we have potentially a Talia making her appearance.
Yeah, look, Oriana seems to be what they're hovering now. But it would be interesting to see either one of them. I mean, Oriana was doing very well with some good moves against the red team last game. It's just that they couldn't capitalize on the good rolls. Oh, and there's the victor again for the red team. Alright, so a rematch mid lane from the previous game, obviously with a different person on the blue team's helm. But still be interesting to see if that lane goes any different for Victor this time compared to the engagements last time. Alright, Kog'Maw there. Probably to protect the Kate in the back a little bit, away from that artillery acid. Yep, there's the Nasus.
Yeah, no one wants to see that dog come out. And actually, we just saw 2 dog bans in a row. Can you believe that? A good old Pugma and a good old Nasus.
Well, assuming that's the skin the Kog'Maw was using.
I certainly hope not, because I will never vote to see that skin in a game.
Oh, and Misfortune banned out. Interesting choice, but not one that's unexpected.
I recommend skipping.
Alright, so now we have the last couple of bans here. I think it should be noted, just for those of you keeping score at home, that red team has won every game where they've been the red team. And the one game they lost, they were the blue team. Just fun little trivia there. Alright, so with their last pick coming out here, or last picks coming out here, have a Darius versus a Gnar top lane. Still looking to see what the ADC and the jungle is for the blue team. Jhin or Ashe seems to be what we're flipping between here. I have a feeling they want Ashe, but we'll see. Nope, it is the Jhin. Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised we didn't see Tilted Psyduck go with the Jhin this game with his cheese 2 games ago.
Well, we'll have to see. I think they wanted to get their hands on that Caitlyn, who's been banned out for most of the games. We'll have to see if as you said, the general consensus is true about her being slightly worse now. And a Sejuani returning, and looks like a Rakan.
Yeah, definitely some nice ball delivery with that Sejuani and the Gnar. Definitely needed, since a Jhin can be lacking in damage if he doesn't get off to a good start.
Ooh, a Nami instead. So another huge AoE CC character coming out. Very similar in impact to those Sona ults.
Actually, even more impactful on this game, because what Nami can do is she can ult from the backline to knock Jhin off of his ult. Very few champions out there can do that, because Jhin will often sit so far back.
Alright, so we have our lineups here. Looks like very similar in terms of just, general on paper, 1 tank apiece, with the Gnar, having the possibility to get really tanky. And of course the Jarvan having the possibility to get really tanky. And not the most sustain in the world bot lane, though of course with shields and some of that bouncing healing coming out of Nami, it should be relatively equivalent in sustain. What are your thoughts of the lineup we're looking at?
I think this is going to be very interesting. I don't think either team has a huge win in champ select with this game. So I think it's going to really come down to who can make that big play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, a lot of the team CC is coming out of those jungles, with the Sejuani with her slow and massive stun, and the Jarvan with his knockups. So a lot of the gank potential will be coming out once again from the jungle. And it'll be really interesting to see if they manage to lock that down once they hit their respective power spike levels.
Absolutely. And unlike last game, I think we see good pressure in all 3 lanes on both sides. So I don't think we necessarily have the opportunity to just have one side pushed in or the other. So it'll be up to the champs themselves to decide whether they want to push in or sit in your turret.
Yeah, certainly. And of course, then once again, it comes down to the question of whether or not they do end up getting pushed under turret and how that impacts the game. Darius's power spike especially should be interesting compared to Nar's power spike and how those two play off each other. Because while Darius can deal out a lot of damage really quickly and surprisingly, the Nar, if he happens to be in super mode when Darius tries to do it, may not be as impressed as Darius would hope.
Honestly, the Darius has the best opportunity to fight into that matchup when the Gnar is in super mode, because the Darius is looking to get those 5 stacks, but if the Gnar is in mini mode, he can just kite away. But if he's in mega, the only way he can fight is right on top, which gives the Darius the advantage.
It'll be interesting to watch if the Darius pulls the Mega Gnar on top of him, and then the Mega Gnar throws him into a wall or something like that. That'd make for a good highlight reel.
I think the Darius may actually be begging for that at some point. Please throw me against the wall so I can make you bleed, buddy.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that engagement goes off, especially considering the other matchups as well. Because I mean, if the Gnar does end up on the back foot, Sejuani could come in behind the Darius and land some killer CC on him. But we'll
Oh,
definitely,
absolutely.
yeah, we'll definitely have to see. For those of you just joining us, we're in our last game of the evening. A little bit of a story in this match. The red team lost to the blue team in the first game and managed to claw back through several other teams to get back to this final match of the night. And while you may think that that's even more interesting, comes out the fact that the star of the blue team is not playing right now. So after that first game, now we'll see how they do without their crown jewel. And we are going into the game right now, last game of the night. Alright, got everybody loading in here. Really nice selection of skins we've seen this evening as well. Rather disappointed to not see any cool Jin skins considering how many games he's been in. But you can't have everything.
Yeah, how did you feel about that new project skin for Jin?
I think that it looks alright. I've never really been a fan of his big shoulder apparatus, and I'm not shy telling everybody that I'm not a fan of it either. But I think that for the aesthetic they're going for, it's really nice. Really makes me think of like a Blade Runner kind of Blade Runner Shadowrun kind of thing, which of course is kind of where the project skins for this batch were leaning. Alright, but we have the teams lining up here. No helpful pings this time to tell us where they're going, so we'll just have to use our keen observer instincts. Looks like red is once again going for cheeky waiting in the brush, but blue's not falling for it. They may have heard us and are now pinging randomly. No. Of course not. Alright. Oh, Nami just face checks that brush. Jin's probably punching himself that he had decided to back off at that last second. They could have secured that if he hadn't, but they do get the flash off the Nami.
Yeah, one more auto attack definitely could have done it.
Yeah, that Jin's going to be thinking about that one for a while, especially if they end up losing. Just because, you know, if he turned around 1 second earlier, hadn't gone back at all. But, you know, c'est la vie. Let us move on. Victor having fun in the bush, of course. Sej seems to be starting blue, and the Jarvan is starting blue as well. So very similar starts for these jungles. Hopefully we'll see how that works out for them. And mid lane starting very much as the last couple have started. Some early CS. And Darius gets to farm alone for a bit here because Gnar stayed to help out the Sejuani.
Yeah, it's always an unfortunate choice for a top laner when the jungle decides to start at the top lane buff because it really gives that half level advantage to the opponent.
Well, we'll have to see how it goes. Sedge deciding to go Wolves while Jarvan is getting his red buff. Little bit of an exchange down bot lane here. Jhin very low, but managing to heal up and get a little bit more poke in there. Really good grenade and some nice damage off there on the Caitlyn, getting her down to just under half. Nami's gonna be healing her up for a while. We'll have to see if they're able to take advantage of this. Sedge, meanwhile, just got her red buff. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and in an interesting note, we see the Jhin taking a Doran's ring to start off the game. Very interesting. Not standard at all.
Yeah, definitely not something you see every day. Mid lane might be getting a little bit exciting with the Jarvan kind of looking like he wants to hang out down there, but then changed his mind. Sedge now coming mid, so we'll see if that goes anywhere. Waiting, Sedge goes in. Gets the flash on the Victor. Happy trade. Yeah, no other really weird item selections coming out of the other characters. But we'll have to see once they decide to start going back. But with, you know, no kills yet, no one really has a strong urge to go back, though Jarvan is simply due to finishing his jungle route. But we'll have to see how that goes. Both Orianna and Victor very low in the mid lane.
Yeah, it really seems like this bot lane was going for a harass plan with taking the Frost Fang and the Doran's Blade, but it's really not paying off. They're at the same health level as the opposing lane, and they're down in CS.
Yeah, I think the Jhin did manage to heal up very well. Good snare there as well.
And right there we see why he took that Doran's Blade. Jhin, with his abilities, can really put out some good harass.
Yeah, I mean, he also went with the, I believe, the Comet ability as well. I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like he has. Yeah, he has the Arcane Comet as one of his abilities. So he's getting just a little bit of that extra poke out there every time he lands a grenade or a trap. Speaking of traps, really cut out of position there. Good flash from both characters on the blue team. Getting out of there just in time. That could have gone really badly if they decided to try to walk instead of using their flash.
Oh, and the Nars thinking about engaging. Nope, changes his mind.
Yeah, we'll have to see if the Jhin decides to stick around or not. The Sejuani might be making him feel kind of confident, but one lucky bubble from the Nami could make things really bad for him, so I really think he should probably go back.
Yeah, I once knew a gambler, though, who said nothing risk, nothing gain. Of course, he broke his piggy bank open and lost all his money.
Yeah, we'll have to see here. Jarvan trying to come back around. Might just be trying to... Seems like he can't really decide where he's going. Maybe he's hoping his team will get a moment to come take Dragon, but he's just kind of wasting time by the Dragon Pit. Oh, good shot there by the Karma. And Jhin now finally decided to go back. Probably just waiting a little bit to get the rest of those item potential. We check the gold. Jin's sitting on 1200. And he does buys a serrated dirk right away. So getting some of that lethality out there.
Yeah, and one of the underappreciated parts of serrated dirk is that if you kill a minion with it, your next auto attack does an additional, I want to say, about 70 damage. I
40,
could be a
it
bit off
says.
on that number.
40 bonus physical damage. Alright, a little exchange here in the mid lane flash burned to avoid the more damaging parts of Victor's ult. But Victor seems perfectly content with that trade and able to rotate now toward the dragon. Though it looks like they're doing blue buff instead. Top lane seems relatively confident, though Darius has a significant 13 minion lead up on the Gnar. It also seems like Gnar hasn't gone back yet. If you look at his gold, yeah, Gnar's got 1,500 gold, so despite Gnar's level, he's really behind in terms of field presence since he has no additional items.
Well, and really masking how far he is actually behind, because when he goes back, he's probably going to lose approximately another 6-8 minions in the lead to Darius.
Victor getting caught out here. Possibly a kill for the blue team if they can get a good hit off there, and they do. First blood goes to blue team. Meanwhile, bot lane, we have Kate at 6. Jhin is not at 6 yet, which could be rather unfortunate for them. But we'll have to see how that goes. Jin's putting out some really good damage, though. Just basically one shot, and maybe 2 shots, and he took Caitlyn down pretty significantly.
Yep, and we're going to see a big party erupt here when he turns 6, because at any opportunity, he will stand by and pop that sniper show.
Sejuani kind of trying to solo Dragon while the rest of her team was lollygagging, but has now finally caught up, and they should get this Dragon relatively easily, though Victor... Nope, Victor does not have anything to say about it. Alright, so a nice Cloud Drake for them there. And
oh, and a nice disengage by the Sejuani, saving the Orianna's life from the Victor ult.
yeah, Victor's ult's really been doing quite a lot of damage throughout the course of these games, and really forcing the other team to respect that AoE damage that he can put down. Gnar still hasn't gone back. It's just rough to see this because while he isn't necessarily getting further behind in terms of items or levels, it's just the fact that he's already so far behind with Ruby Crystal, Longsword, and Boots up on him from the Darius.
Well, and really, we need to. The only way this pressure gets relieved is if we see a jungle game.
Yeah, but Sejuani seems to be content to be kind of in the more on the bot lane side. Jarvan securing the Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, that's the benefit of these pressure lanes is if you keep that pressure up, your enemy's opponent can't even back because they'll lose so much farm, so much gold just from a simple back.
Well, we'll have to see how that develops for him as it goes on. Jarvan rotating around, rewarding where the Karma cleared out. Karma doing some nice dewarding while Jhin went back to buy more items. Jhin now with a sledgehammer, but 20 CS in the hole versus the Caitlyn.
Yeah, and we're really seeing quite the lull to just farm and clear wards right now. Mid lane's extremely even, 16 CS up for Victor and 1 kill up for Orianna.
Yeah, it is interesting to see both teams seem very confident with just letting this game drag into the mid and the late game. Sejuani trying to come in here for the Victor again. Good, amazing flash actually. The sidestep that, though it may not be enough. Sejuani with a ton of CC, and Orianna gets her second kill and the second kill of the game.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how much pressure they're able to exert for first turret here, especially because it will allow there to be more jungle presence around the mid lane when blue team needs jungle presence top. And we're getting it here right now. Oh, the Darius with a nice Q to keep his health up. He's gonna get out of this.
Or will he?
Or is he?
Oh, he is? The Gnar? Oh, the Gnar... Alright, the Gnar finally is forced back to go home just because he's dead. But almost, almost got away there. It would have been really heartbreaking to see that happen if it had.
It was also almost a 2v1 outplay. That Darius with some really smart cues to get heals off.
Yeah, as is Darius known to do. All right, really high damage on the Kate now. Jin sidesteps the wave. Might be looking to do his ult here, just trying to get as far up as he can, but decides not to use his ult and just backs off.
Yeah, and now's a great opportunity, being that the Nami ult can't displace him.
And that they're both characters are really low as well. He may be expecting the Karma to help a little bit with a little bit more chip damage. Of course, with Jin shots not always being the most reliable sources of accuracy.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they were able to place a ward while they're up here.
Oh,
and we're seeing Engage in the river.
Victor
nice
out of position
field.
again. And another death by the Victor. That just really sucks for the Victor. Being not only the only kills on your deaths on your team, but also, you know, well, I suppose the Darius as well. But just so many focuses in lane, never good. But the Jarvan goes down, and the Nami will as well. Jin getting many rapid shots off, and Blue now suddenly up 6-1, a 2K gold lead.
And we'll see if they're able to take advantage of this and expand their lead further with first turret of the game. Definitely appears like it at this juncture. Oh, a nice escape top lane to prevent the Darius from taking advantage of all the presence bot lane.
Yeah, Gnar doing a cute little hop to manage to avoid any further harass from that Darius. Alright, so Blue now 6 kills and 1 turret up and a dragon. So we'll have to see if this momentum keeps going.
Yeah, really 15% lead at this point with that 3K gold up.
Yeah, definitely have to see if it continues. Little bit of engage here. Gnar definitely trying to go in, getting the Mega, but getting a Mega just to get away.
Yeah, he was so close to giving that Darius max stacks, and then you're looking at that dunk.
Gnar just Mega Gnars gets away, and now is waiting. With all my talk about the items in the top lane before, they're now a little bit evener because they both went for the Black Cleaver. So
yeah,
Gnar should certainly try to take advantage of this while he can and try to maybe catch up on CS while Darius goes back.
Yeah, Darius I'd say probably has a good 1,500 remaining in his pocket that he wants to spend now.
Yeah, looks like he just quick bought a couple more items.
Interesting that he goes with Merc Treads to stop the CC from the Gnar and the Orianna when you really see Ninja Tabi as just the preeminent staple since the damage reduction is so good.
The concern could also be Sejuani's slows, because don't forget, Darius' only death came from Sejuani coming in and slowing him so much that he could get picked off by the Gnar.
Oh, absolutely. It's almost saddens me that Ninja Tabi is picked so often because CC is such a real part and issue when playing this game.
Alright, looks like we're going to have some kind of engagement coming out here for the Dragon. Oh, the wave does stop the Jin ult.
And we see why they picked that as a direct counter to Jin. Such a huge displacement.
But Blue manages to pick up their second Dragon with very little fanfare after that Nami managed to escape.
These guys are just riding the river. They got a Wind Drake and an Ocean Drake, so their ship's just gonna sail on down.
Alright, looks as though the Victor's taking a lot of damage again. The Jin's probably missing his ult at this point. It's a shame that he did manage to lose it when he did, but that is, you know, what happens when you're against a Nami with that kind of range. Victor manages to
and the
flash.
flash.
Yes. So close. But Victor does manage to get out, and he probably will stay that way with Jin's ult nowhere near completion. Especially because he's on the other side of the map, pushing.
And now we're really starting to see the impact of those kills on Victor earlier in the game as Orianna has creeped ahead in the minion count.
And Victor just is only on his first stage of evolution still, so his abilities are not quite where you want them to be at this part of the game.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're seeing a lot more farming out of the Jarvan this game, whereas last game we saw a lot more ganks and early impact.
Yeah, everyone's kind of seemed to enjoy farming, though Blue seems to have enjoyed it a lot more because they managed to get that lead. I'm actually surprised that the Darius hasn't gotten as involved as I think he probably should be in these fights, though Red does manage to get a good little exchange there. Caitlyn's probably going to go down, and Nami probably will as well. Oh, but she's dodging pretty well. She does manage to dodge all of the bullets coming out of that Jhin.
Well, and I think we can see why the Darius hasn't been getting it as involved here, as he finally gets in and is going to town on Orianna and Jhin, taking them both out.
Right, and again, that's kind of why I was saying that I think the Darius really needs to get in here, because out of everyone else on his team, he's the one that's been farming the best. He's the one who has been the least contested, and he's the one who now has swung the game back more toward the red team's favor.
But if you look at it, it's really up to his team to get him involved. He had to wait so long in that fight to TP in because he had no good TP wards up the lane. He had to wait for the enemy team to get well past the minions and then TP to one of those.
Oh, certainly. I mean, it's no question a team game, but as we've seen, now that it is a team game, Red seems to have some new life breathed into it as they managed to get their first turret and a couple of kills.
Oh, absolutely. The Dunk Master came in and did what he does best.
Alright, so we got Kate pushing a little bit up on the top lane, but it's going to get ganked to high heaven if she doesn't turn around right now.
Yeah, there's a regular flood of players coming up there.
And still gets taken out.
Yeah, that Karma Tether, well done.
Yeah, definitely. Did manage to get the flash on her as well. Just maybe a little bit too much greed coming out of there, especially because of the lack of ward coverage on the river from the red team.
Well, and she has to know that she can't see any of them on the map. They're either in base or in the black spots. As we see more action, Victor going down again. The poor guy's gotta be so frustrated.
Yeah, definitely. Nami did manage to get some separation there. Darius almost may have gotten taken out, but the Nami's been doing really good with that wave of hers to save her team and herself, and of course enjoy spamming her emotes at the same time.
Well, there's a reason that she is the tilted Snorlax.
Still in a bit of a 3v4 situation here. Darius, though, could really make something happen on that Jhin. Somehow the pull doesn't work, and now Darius is caught a little out of position and does get taken out. That's unfortunate. As someone who doesn't play Darius, I'm a little surprised that that pull didn't work.
Yeah, it's a much more challenging skill shot than most people evaluate it to be. It's really the crux of playing Darius, along with stacking the bleed.
Alright, so we got a second turret now for the blue team. And a quick pickoff on the Karma. Victor gonna get picked off in exchange, most likely, though managed to survive much longer than I gave him credit for. Jin's ult's really coming down, though, but splits his focus at the last second there and doesn't manage to kill anyone, and gets picked off in exchange. In a lot of these fights, we've seen that Sejuani is really using her tankiness to her advantage, just going clear under turret with no concern at all for her own safety. Oh, but the Jarvan's coming in, though. Darius coming to clean up. Darius could get one good pull, but nope, is slowed and has to back off.
The Darius really isn't to the point where he's that true tank. At this point, he's relying on getting in the middle of that fight and regenning rather than straight tanking the damage like the Sejuani.
And the Winions doing a little bit of pushing, getting the third turret there for the blue team, who is now 5k gold in the lead. Here at 22 minutes. Alright, looks as though that mid turret's going to go down pretty quickly here. I don't see enough damage potential, especially with the Mega Gnar showing up.
The Nami Bulbul! She's definitely wanting the team to engage here, but the communication just doesn't quite seem to be there.
Well, especially because they were in a 5v3 at that instance. Just like in the previous games, we're seeing that it's really coming down to what teams are rotating better than the other.
Yeah, and really having that chemistry to know, I'm going to go now and I want you to follow up. Sometimes that's more innate than verbal.
Alright, Red's trying to pull out this Drake. Oh, Darius gets a great grab on the Jhin, and Jhin is just deleted.
And we see that Q really regenning Darius up there so he doesn't have to rely on tank stats.
Could go for more, and they will. Gnar gets a really good stun off, but Darius just doesn't care at all and goes in some more. Red team gets a team wipe with a triple kill. 5-0.
And no health left on the Darius. So pretty by him.
Yes, just an amazing play by the Darius, flashing into that second stage of the fight to just fully secure it. And now, Red Team may have just turned this game around and they may bring it back into their favor.
Yeah, and the Darius TPing back in to tank as the Nami looks to regen the rest of the team.
Yeah, and now we see Red Team working as one, which again was kind of what had been holding them back through most of this game. If they've reached this point now where they're going to start rotating together, I think Blue Team may be in a lot of trouble.
Oh, and the Jhin almost could have made it in range to try and steal with the Jhin ult, but turns away.
Alright, so now from a 4k, 5k gold differential, we're now back up to just a 1k gold differential. Especially now because Red Team has that Infernal Drake to help them catch up some of their lost ground.
Yeah, this is definitely any man's game after that huge play by Darius, especially with more gold to be gained with the Baron buff.
We'll have to see where it goes as we're settling into our next stage of the game. Gnar trying to farm a little bit in mid, still relatively behind Darius in kills if we're still considering lane differentials as an issue. Big gathering in mid though, so there's definitely going to be some kind of butting of heads, if nothing else, in this area. Victor getting chunked to about half his health.
Well, and it's really smart to have the Darius with the group at this point because we're at the point in the game where the Gnar really can kite the Darius with 2 items and make it really challenging for him on the side right.
Oh, they spot out the Sejuani and pull her over, but she's more than happy to get into it. A good whole series of ults going out. That Gnar especially just destroys at least half of their team, if not more. Jhin tanks the Caitlyn ult, picks off the Victor, and gets out of there with no health at all. Caitlyn also trying to run and may pick off somebody. No, Caitlyn goes down. Absolutely incredible play by the blue team, just pushing their characters to the absolute limit, and it pays off for them in a big way.
And if we look at that last fight, minute detail that really played a huge part is that Darius's Q, everyone that it could have hit was inside the handle, so he lost, I believe, a huge amount of heal, and that would have allowed him to sustain through a lot more abilities and likely saved his team the fight.
Yeah, it was just a huge series of events initiated entirely by that Darius pulling the Sejuani over the wall, and then that Mega Gnar's slam just really helped seal it by throwing 3 players of blue or the red team into that wall, really making up for his 50 CC down differential.
And just like that, we're back to a 3k gold lead for the blue team.
Yeah, almost to 4. And it looks like Red not really deterred at all, trying to counter push right away on a turret. We'll see how that works out for him. Sejuani's coming in, hits the Nami with the stun, and Nami is instantly deleted. And now the Jhin able to ult, but doesn't really do any damage at all to Darius. But Darius is helped out by the rest of his team. For some reason decides to go back in. That was probably not the best play. He does get he does get a couple of bleed stacks off, but I think the Darius would have been better sent just using that brief half-a-second hiatus to get out of there.
Yeah, and it's very interesting that they got involved in that fight in the first place, since the Caitlyn was down bot lane trying to gain experience.
Yeah, I think their plan might have been to try to distract the blue team with a split push, but when you're in a game this close, and really, I mean, blue team just need an opportunity to get back into the lead of this game, and they got it. Blue team wisely backing off just before the Darius spawns to not have to be involved in a 4v5 situation when the game is this close. And we'll have to see what the next step is. Good bubble by the Nami. Victor seems to want to do something, and Victor removes half of Jin's health with one ability. So Victor is clearly at the point where he is a dangerous threat despite being 2 and 6.
Yeah, now we're really looking to just clear out that warding as both teams try and find a pick rather than a straight-on team fight, as it seems to be whoever gets the better initial grab is winning those right now.
Yeah, definitely. They may decide to back up a little bit and go for the dragon. We're looking at, I believe, another Cloud Drake, so not necessarily the thing you're the hungriest for in the world, but could help the Darius with some engages. Speaking of the Darius, gets caught out a little bit there. Good wave helps to shut the Jhin down right away, and the Orianna gets taken out too. Jarvan doing really well in the back lane. And Gnar gets another good ult off, manages to get one pick, but that Jarvan is just out of control. And another ace. A 4v1 this time.
We're just seeing the pendulum swing back and forth. It's one team winning the fight, then another. And there's really not any stalemate fights out there.
It's been really interesting to see who the, let's say, hero of each individual fight is. I mean, the Darius has been doing it for a while. Then the Jarvan just absolutely swept the back lane in that last fight, coming out really big and showing off that damage that he's been building the whole game.
And a nice TP by the Darius to try and grab another bunch of global gold off that top tower.
And does, and now Red takes a gold lead.
But we could see that regretted, because now they can't go for that split push with Darius.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they manage to get this dragon. Blue team has managed to come back into position nicely, and now it's a 4v3. Jhin, in particular, could get something done there. Sejuani steals the dragon, and now they're going to get the Jarvan for it, too.
Yeah, classic greed there, really preventing them from keeping that lead.
Well, another little fight going on here. Probably not a fight that the red team wants, though, considering that they're at 3.5 versus 4, it looks like, yeah. So we'll have to see. Though that being said, they do manage to get the good separation that they needed. Have another push here, but again, it's a 4v... Well, whatever red team musters, there's only 4 people from the blue team here as Gnar's pushing top. This doesn't really seem to be the kind of game where you want to be split pushing at this stage. What do you think with that?
Yeah, I mean, both teams are trying so hard to get picks that you really want to be grouped as 5. It's great for us as the viewers, but not so great for the 1 or 4 that gets picked off.
Yeah, definitely. Though that being said, you can't deny that the blue team does have really good separation abilities, with the Karma being able to slow anyone chasing them and the Sejuani having some kits for that as well. Looks like Red's taking advantage of the uncertainty and separation to head straight to the Baron buff.
And you see the Jhin bot lane as well as the Karma. The Jhin hasn't even started recalling yet. If they start this Baron, they're going to have a huge opportunity.
It looks like they're going to capitalize on that opportunity as well. Blue desperately pinging that they need someone to get in there, but their blue team steals the Baron!
Oh my, how did they let that happen?
The Sejuani just jumped the wall at the last second, and everyone was too focused to deal with it. The Gnar's probably going to get away too, unless they, yeah, with the Baron. Oh, maybe not. Gnar cancels his teleport. Might have been able to get away with it if he just gritted his teeth and hoped for the best, but gets picked off. So despite the amazing steal by Sejuani, only 2 champions on the blue team have the Baron buff.
But really, that was never the point of the steal. It was to stop the enemy team from barreling down your throat. I mean, the Sejuani completely changed the tilt of this game by doing that, even if the enemy team can't, even if her team can't push at this time.
Well, sure. I was just trying to say something nice for Red Team when they watch this later, trying to give them a silver lining.
You are too kind, sir.
Alright, so we have the Caitlyn here cleaning up on the bot lane a little bit. Red Team is definitely going to try to make something happen here, though they do have the inhibitor turret down and are very slightly up on gold. Equal turrets, then, to be said. But we're just going to wait till the next thing that pushes a big fight. Victor might be in trouble here. We'll see how it goes with the Karma right there. One good slow could really delete this Victor with a Jhin so close by.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is going to come down to the next team fight, given how explosive those have been in this game.
Nami continuing to keep a positive attitude just after that Baron steal. Alright, blue team falling back, red team pushing hard with their super minions. We'll see if they commit to it. Caitlyn doesn't seem to be so sure. I'm not sure where she's wandering off to. But we're about to get into a little bit of a engage here, as Sejuani could be in a good position to make something happen if the rest of her team follows through. But they're backing off.
Yeah, the blue team's really looking to just wait out that mid inhibitor, have that come back up. The red team seems to be attempting to wait out the Baron buff, though I don't know why they were trying to do it in the jungle where they lacked vision.
Blue's now counter pushing with the rest of the Baron buff that they have. It's also worth noting that Jhin does have that Guardian Angel. So even if he does get picked off by some sneaky backline tactics, he will be able to come back later. Especially considering how mobile these team fights have been. It's possible they could leave Jhin alone for him to respawn. Though the Jarvan has a Guardian Angel as well, which could come into play.
Absolutely. It makes it so easy for a Jarvan to just dive in and full out suicide with the hope that by the time you regen, your team will have cleaned up.
Just some nice back and forths. Looks as though bot lane is pushing for the red team on its own, though. So someone on blue is going to have to go back and address that.
Yes, we also have the dragon coming up here shortly.
And blue team actually, I think, maybe putting themselves in a poor position here because they're scattering. We have Sejuani going top, Gnar going bot, and so now there's only going to be 3 people at the dragon, if any, whereas the entirety of the red team is at dragon.
Oh, and the flash by Darius. They definitely see that Sejuani in top, and they're looking to take advantage.
Yeah, we'll see if it works for them. If nothing else, they are really aggressively securing the area around the Elder Drake. Darius
definitely an interesting tactic, though, since this Sejuani doesn't have any teleport. And the Elder Drake is up.
Yeah.
But the Darius TP'd out instead of looking to attack.
Jhin flashes back, and it looks like they're going to catch the Orianna out of position. Jarvan goes down first. Guardian Angel pop. Jhin is really low, but does manage to almost take out the Jarvan. 2 bubbles there on the Nami. Meganar going in. Probably not a good idea considering his low health pool. Jin at very low health. Sejuani getting out, getting sniped, but that health pool doesn't care about that.
And the red team with some very nice team play to extricate themselves from a 5v4.
Yeah, that was really rough. I'm surprised that it went as well for them, and actually surprised it didn't go more poorly for the blue team, considering how low all of their heroes' health ended up at the end there. Champions' health ended up at the end there. But also, it seems like the red team is very slowly picking away at this Elder Dig, trying to prevent another steal. Sejuani goes in there a little too soon. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, they really just denied that vision by pulling it out, and she had to gamble.
Alright, so now the blue team is stuck in a 5v4 situation for the next 40 seconds. Jin does still have his Guardian Angel though, but they're against an empowered Elder Drake team, but it's worth saying that the Elder Drake is only powering up a single Infernal Drake stack. So it's not as powerful as it would be if the shoe was on the other foot.
Definitely a smart decision though to force down that inhib.
Yeah, definitely. Get that inhib down. Jin loses his Guardian Angel and his life. So
this could be a push to end.
Well, it looks like they're backing off. I mean, they're all mostly at half health, and even though the Jin is dead, the Sejuani is back, and she's got that stun that you simply have to respect.
Absolutely. Definitely the smarter decision to back off.
Yeah, especially in a game like this where you're only 2k up.
Yeah, everything about this game is back and forth. Ace for one team, ace for the other.
Red's probably just happy they didn't get the Elder Dragon stolen too.
Now you're being too cruel, my friend.
It's okay. By the end, I'll strike the balance, just like this game is strike a balance.
This game has been the ultimate teeter-totter achieving balance, I must say.
We've had a couple of games like that today. Looks like two red heroes in quite a bit of a pickle here. Who's going to get taken out first? Victor probably will fall. Yes, he does. So we're going to see if the other red champions can get out, and they seem like they do. That Elder Drake definitely helping them the last few seconds before it expires.
Yep, and it expires just in time for them to get Baron.
Well, we'll see if they manage to or not. Darius is incredibly tanky still, but gets blown up by 1,000 damage crit from the Jin. That is an amazing amount of damage that cannot be ignored. And now we'll see if the red team can spin a steal like the blue team did. Gonna be really close. Caitlyn is choosing to ignore the Baron buff entirely and is pushing toward mid. It's worth noting that mid is almost down one turret in those final...
Oh, and she backs off. Yeah, those Baron recalls are just too fast.
Almost loses Nexus turret. May still lose a... Ooh. Almost. Alright, so they keep the last turret alive and it'll start regenerating health. Or the second to last turret still alive. And we are back to a very close game. Less than 1,000 gold separating the teams. Equal kills, equal turrets.
And really the only significant factor differentiating them at this point is the Guardian Angel's respawns. And we see those are down for the Jarvan and the Jin, but the Jarvan should be back up soon.
Yeah, the Caitlyn has one as well. The Jin, it looks like, may have bought another one, because his is almost back as well, I think. Unless I'm looking at the reading wrong.
No, you're correct. It's almost... Or no, it's...
Oh, it's the other way. That's fair. Alright, the Jarvan gets picked off. The Caitlyn's Guardian Angel could actually do quite a lot in this situation, because she's been doing quite a lot of damage as well, but it looks as though Blue has finally broken down the front door and might be going for an inhibitor of their own. Really good shield there on the Nami, running back.
Oh, and the red team needs to be careful here. They need to give up this inhib, or they could risk giving up the game.
Yeah, Jin is incredibly low, though, so Jin and Orianna both got to be really careful. That Victor is, well, was at full health, and his laser is incredibly powerful.
The Zanyas. Oh, the Orion ult.
Really
They're
good.
looking to make.
Really good flash builder Zanyas. Blue may actually be able to lock this out with the rest of the team in the back. At least getting down both turrets. Oh, the Gnar! The Gnar doesn't manage to do it.
And we see another swing in this game.
And the Darius is taking advantage of it. He has teleported down to the bot lane and is now pushing hard with a huge red minion wave. Jhin is the only one left, and I'm not sure Jhin can solo a Darius.
And it's critical that he was actually able to recall there. Otherwise, that's a free inhib for the Darius.
It may be a free inhib anyway. This Jhin is not really in a good position to engage, and
he may be about to get flanked.
The entirety of the red team is coming down here. They don't have a minion wave just yet, but that may not matter. It's only going to be Karma and Jhin for the next 5 seconds, which is more than enough time for both Nexus turrets to go down. Jarvan diving in immediately. Lots of flashes expended to keep alive. Both Nexus turrets do go down. However, Jarvan is trying to do something sneaky there. His Guardian Angel may make the difference. Darius is all up, and Jarvan's Guardian Angel does help make the difference and ends the game. An amazing last game for the night as the red team manages to close it out. Wow.
The teeter-totter had to finally tilt to one side.
Absolutely incredible final game, and actually quite an amazing story from all the games today. Like I said before, watching Tilted Snorlax's team simply fall in the beginning and then have to claw its way back through 3 more matches to finally come out as the big winners of the night.
Well, like you said, we know what their lucky color is.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, what do you think the turning point was in that final fight at the blue team's Nexus?
I think it was just a lot of they were focusing quite a bit. I think was part of the issue. It was just a question of tunnel vision of going for kills versus going for objectives. I think is what really wrapped it up at the end there. And without being able to go back and watch the whole thing again, I can't say any much more than that, but especially for the blue team, I mean, they could have at least gotten both the turrets down, but the Gnar just ended up getting left alone with that turret and couldn't manage to seal it out.
Yeah, either way, phenomenal play by both teams. A pure pleasure to watch.
Absolutely, and hopefully the players will be able to do just as well starting next week when we have the real split for the LCUS starting December 3rd. Same time, I believe, will be the start, 6:30 Central. So if you're watching now and you like what you see, come back and watch the actual tournament get underway. Anything to wrap it up, Lucky?
No, just a pleasure casting with you and looking forward to playing next week.
All right, sounds great. Everybody, you have a good night. Thanks for watching. See you next week.